We were looking before at the wintergreen. Here's one with a berry on it. So normally these will have a few berries on each plant. So probably an animal was here before that was eating these berries. We can eat this last one. I always like to give an offering to the plants, especially any that I'm going to harvest. The way that I was taught and what I have found to be true is that we need to thank the plants for the gifts that they're giving to us. And I've made up a little blend of herbs, but all different kinds of blends are used. Traditional is to give tobacco. It's good to give something you actually care about and love as your giveaway to the plants. And the purpose is twofold. One is to ask for permission to gather, and the second is to give thanks, assuming that the answer is yes. But you give thanks whether the answer is yes or no, and sometimes they do tell you no. So I'm asking if I can eat this last little berry that's so delicious. And what I'm hearing wintergreen say is, oh yes, I have many, many more berries in these woods, so you go right ahead and eat that berry. Oh, I found something really special. Okay. Of course, all the plants are really special, as they will remind you again and again. And each plant has so many gifts. But come take a look at this one. Now, not every plant is meant necessarily to be used by us. Some of the plants are for us to come and to visit with and sit with and learn from, which is actually, I believe, true of all of the plants. This is a relative of the plant we looked at earlier, the ghost pipe or Indian pipe, corpse plant. And here it is all red. I have a very magical connection and relationship with this plant. Where I first discovered it was in a grove that was my special place, somewhere that I lived some years back. And I had walked a long, long way through the woods and came down a big slope to a grove by water. And by the water were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these beautiful red plants. And I sat there for a long time, and I began to have a sense of people or presences there who were not physically there. And as I sat longer, I began to see one after another of Native American women come walking into the grove. One by one by one, they sat down on the ground, and they didn't seem to mind that I was there, and I didn't know quite what was happening. And then gradually, as they were humming and singing and sitting, I realized that this was a sacred moon lodge for the women, and that this was a place a long time ago that the local Native women had come to bleed onto the moss and onto the earth to nourish the earth with their lifeblood. And a song came to me. I'll sing you a line or two that I remember that stayed with me from that time, and it was, and again, this isn't scientifically accurate, but this is my sense of this plant. This is where the women bled, the Indian pipes have all turned red, so long ago, so long ago. So whenever I see these, I know, just as with the white Indian pipes, that I've come to a particularly sacred spot in the woods. And I'm sure you've probably recognized that the tree that I'm sitting under is another witch hazel, Hamelis virginiana, another native plant, by the way, in our woods. And thank you, witch hazel. I'm going to pick a couple of leaves and show you one of the little first aid things you can do with the witch hazel leaves. Is if your eyes are swollen and tired because you have a cold, or maybe you've been working on your computer a long time, you can actually take the leaf and rub them up to get the moisture out of them. You could chew them too, but remember they're pretty tannin rich. And then you can, whoa, let's see, let me do another one too. You know what, you need to chew them just a little bit. Munch, munch, munch. Ooh, that's tannin rich. And after you have it so that there's some moisture available from the plant, you can make what I call the Woods version of movie star eye pillows. And you can put them over your eyes and relax and meditate and breathe, and it's so soothing to tired, swollen eyes. So I don't want to just fade away and go to sleep here, so I'll take them off. Besides, I've been wondering, remember we saw those sassafras leaves on the ground in the beginning of this walk? Where is that sassafras tree anyway? I want to find it. I love to get sassafras this time of year. Here's my beloved sassafras tree. This is another native tree actually in our area. This is a rather small tree, and they do grow much, much taller. Sometimes the sassafras trees are 40 feet tall. She makes it easy for us to identify by having 3 different shaped leaves on the same tree. You have this shaped leaf, from which she gets her nickname, the mitten tree. You have the more solid whole leaf, right, like that, kind of oval shaped. And then you have the triple lobed leaf. So all 3 of these appear on the tree at the same time. And though it's the root of sassafras that has traditionally been used as medicine for years and years, I use almost no sassafras root and really wait for the autumn to use the leaves. I'll gather a few green leaves, and mostly I actually wait until the leaves are turning colors. They're yellow and they're orange and they're rust colored, and they are ready to fall to the ground. Sometimes I even pick them up from the ground, so the tree doesn't need them anymore, and they still make a wonderful sassafras medicine. And sassafras medicine is uplifting to the spirit, is helpful for congestion in the lymph system, generally will make you laugh and smile, really, and many other things. Clears the skin, it's useful for coughs, for dry coughs, and I find that for people who suffer with the lack of light in the winter, having some sassafras leaf infusion in their diet over the winter can make a real difference in their happiness in getting through the winter season. I'm very grateful to the sassafras tree, and this is one that I make absolutely sure to get a really big bag of leaves in the autumn time to get me through to the spring. Even though her classic reputation is as a spring tonic, I love her as a spring tonic, but I rely on her as a fall tonic. Thanks for coming into the woods with me today. We got to see a few wonderful plants, some of my favorites, and there's lots more that we don't have time to talk about today, but we can talk about another day. But I'll show you a couple that are right here at my feet. This one is called maple-leafed crampbark, and it looks like a maple tree, but it feels furry, and it's very helpful for all kinds of muscular cramps. And right over here, in various stages of autumn colors, we have blueberry bushes. And everyone knows about how wonderful blueberries are, but even the leaves of blueberries are very helpful for regulating blood sugar. And you know what? We didn't get very far at all, and what an abundance we found. Thanks again for coming out for a walk in the woods with me today. My name is Robin Rose Bennett, and if you want more information about herbal healing, go to my website, robinrosebennett.com. Thanks. Green blessings.